MIDDLEKAUFF.
Hey, babes.
Welcome, everybody, to another Haberman and MIDDLEKAUFF show live on YouTube and the podcast, however you consume that. We're glad that you do. If you're new around here, I'm Guy, and he's John.
Hey.
I'm Haberman. My name comes first, but in the videos, I'm on the second side. John's name comes second, but he's on the other side, just so there's no confusion. I get DMs from people all the time, like, I'm new to the show. What's your lock of the week? How do you guys do this? So, every once in a while, it's not the worst thing to reintroduce ourselves.
Smart. Yeah.
Consider
lock
it
of the week is coming up.
We should have the ham holiday party, We say, oh, hey, what do you do? Nice to meet you. Oh, we're Haberman MIDDLEKAUFF. Oh, it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. You been here a while? Where do you live? Yeah. So that's coming up for some people.
Party in a little while.
Same. I would imagine holiday parties part of the pandemic that some people did not miss.
No, 100%. There probably are some sweet ones though. Not every I'd say holiday party is an equal.
No.
Probably depends on your company. There are some better.
I bet others. Tito Beverage throws a good holiday party. John.
Yeah, I bet you could probably pick out some good ones. There's some other ones that like Google. Probably skip that one.
Do that one on Zoom, John. I got some new golf clubs, and I'm going to take them golfing with me today. You want to see them?
Yeah.
Yeah, check them out. Driver. 3-wood. Or maybe driver 3-wood. Tito's, John. This show is sponsored by Tito's Handmade Vodka. For those of you just listening, that was a joke. I held up a can of Arnold Palmer half and half iced tea lemonade. That with Tito's. That's a John Daly. And, I have a feeling, I don't know if that's what's going to be in Tiger's bottle when he plays in the little golf tournament with Charlie coming up here in a week and a half. But Tito's is the way to go.
He could do a little Torterol Tito's cocktail. Tito's #1 vodka in America. Have yourself a cocktail. Link us. Tweet at us. Any of your cocktail drinking over the weekend. Love to see it. I know you guys love to have them. So do we. And love these guys. Tito's #1 vodka in America.
Yep. I was talking to a guy I know named Tito, who I've worked with a lot doing games. He's a camera operator, high-level guy. He was working the Breeders' Cup. He told me he ran into a guy at the Breeders' Cup wearing an orange Tito's blazer. He went up to him and said, I listened to a podcast you sponsor, and my name is Tito. I got to get a picture. The guy said, not only will I take a picture with you, I work for Tito's. I'm friends with Tito. I will send you a Tito's suit. A suit. An all-orange Tito's suit. So the latest update is that the suit, he got the address and that he's sending him a suit.
It's always good when you get to the higher ups. You mentioned our brand, just different places, right?
Yep.
Running a guy at Breeders' Cup.
Yep.
Breeders' Cup. Doesn't have to know that, he worked with one of the members on the podcast, just friends, just out there.
Breeders' Cup. That is not, that Breeders' Cup is different than, seeing a guy at like a JV basketball game.
Very true. Very true. We let high-level people hang out with other high-level people and do high-level events.
So, wasn't that the line that Drake gave Dave Chappelle?
Which one?
Something like that. It was like it was young Drake with Dave Chappelle. I think Chappelle told
No, it was Kanye.
Kanye. Sorry, Kanye. Yeah.
I don't even think Drake was around at the time.
No. Because what was his line? Like,
I'm Kanye and I do dope ass shit.
Yeah. And then he hung up the phone.
I think Dave was in the room and he was talking to like his manager or something. I thought that's what it was.
They were editing the show. Kanye was hanging out as they edited Chappelle's show. Phone rings. Kanye says something. Yeah, because I'm dope and I do dope shit, and hung up the phone.
Yeah.
I think it was the deal. Anyway.
And I mean, Kanye had an album, but he was no means like one of the greatest entertainers in the history of, music at the time.
No, he was not Kanye yet.
This was probably like 2004, right?
Yes.
05.
This is old.
I saw Dame Lillard giving an interview. He had a mask on with a C, and then it said Chappelle on the other side.
Dame Lillard
was just wearing a Dave Chappelle mask. So
all right. John, Tito's Handmade Vodka. It is the #1 vodka in America. If you are having a holiday party at your house, if it's a holiday party of 1 or 2, doesn't have to be big. Whatever you're doing, Tito's is the way to go. You show up with a bottle of Tito's, John. You are going to be welcome wherever you show up. Door will open wide. A big hug will ensue, and you hand over the Tito's with a bow on it. You go to a bar, you order the Tito's. You order the Tito's and soda. That's the MIDDLEKAUFF go-to drink. You order the John Daly. That's what I love. and it works for everybody anywhere. It is number one, and it's the best. I mean, what else can you say? It is the best. We appreciate their support. We appreciate that they've also supported our No Kid Hungry charity, which we'll tell you more about later. But distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Yep, get on it.
Podcast also brought to you by MyBookie.ag, promo code HAMMER, the number one. We will tell you our lock of the week coming up in mere moments. But MyBookie.ag, HAM1, use that promo code, and they'll match that first deposit up to $1,000. You can also decline the bonus. Remember, if you accept the bonus, you have to bet the full amount before you can withdraw funds. But either way, HAM1, so they know that we sent you. And this is where we have been making our lock of the week pick for the news. We should share our lock of the week pick every week since week 1 of the season. We've been hot, we've been cold, we've been up, we've been down, but such is life, John. And we're here to fight. Our pot started at $300 total, $150 each. It grew, it swelled, it ballooned to almost $5,000. We've hit a few bumps over this last weekend, and we are down to what now?
32-27.
32-27. This is a big week. It feels like this is a swing week.
This is a big week. I mean, I think we could either come storming back, or we could just find ourselves maybe we're going to break even. You know, are we going to have cash in the hopper by the time we get to the playoffs? You know, it's like we need to hit. That's what we need to hit. I mean, just no period, point blank, end of story. We need a winner, guy.
Yep. But we've won before. We haven't forgotten how to win, John. We went 11 in a row, 15 if you count the 14 parlay that we hit. And unfazed by 3 straight losses at $500 a pop. Yeah, we've got a lock to get to this week. So, do you want to get to that now?
Yeah. I mean, mybookie.ag, promo code HAM1. Let's dive right in.
Our lock of the week this week, are you seeing what I'm seeing right here? The 49ers +1, or do you have it at -1 now?
You got to log in.
Yeah, so what is it? What do you have?
I got it -1.
-1. So that's what it is. I didn't log in here before I pulled this up. But -1. 49ers at the Bengals, -1 point. That is our lock of the week. Let's talk about why.
Locking in right now, -115. So we bet 500. We only win 434.
I don't care, John. We've been preoccupied with the juice and the money lines. And are you saying you want to take it money line?
Well, I mean, the money line is -125, so you might as well just do the -1 because to me, it's yeah.
All right. I just want to win. We stacked wins. We stack wins. We stack wins. This is the game we feel best about. That's why we're picking this game. Period. Right? Now, why do we feel good about this game? Partly, it's a must-win game for the 49ers. Let's start with that.
I saw on Twitter today their playoff percentage is like 75 if they win, and it's under 50 if they lose. So, I mean, this is obviously for the Bengals, it's a big game too. I mean, the AFC playoffs we've talked about a bunch, but on the DVOA rankings, which are just numbers, no emotion, the Niners are still a top 10 team.
Yeah,
and I saw that they've given up their special teams accounted for like 24 points if you factor in the 2 Seattle games, and obviously, you know, they've just had some. Honestly, everything has gone wrong to get them to where they are right now at 6-6. Think about that. It's not like they've been lucky to get 6-6. Like, they've had to be a disaster to be 6-6. I think most people in the analytical community view them as a team with a better record. Like when you just factor in all the EPA stuff, all the different statistics. Now, I think for us that are less numerically tied to every positive with the Niners, like Jimmy Garoppolo is still at the end of the day their quarterback, which is always going to be a roller coaster. Obviously, Burrow is injured. He dislocated his pinky finger, which is on his throwing hand. But like that does neutralize the gap, which obviously Joe Burrow completely healthy is. They have a massive advantage at quarterback, right? I don't give a shit that he leads the league in interceptions.
Yep.
Because honestly, if Kyle would let Jimmy throw more, he'd be right there too. Right?
With less of the touchdowns, yeah. With not the upside, but plenty of picks. Yeah. I mean, I think that not having Emmanuel Mosley hurts in this game, but it turns out the Chidobe Awuzie, I think, is out for Cincinnati, who's been their best corner. Now they do, and I said this watching the Charger game. I watched the Charger game twice, Chargers-Bengals, in preparation for this pick. I watched it live in parts and then went back and watched it again Thursday morning. They do make you get rid. This Bengals defensive front, even though they're not 100% on defense, they do make you get rid of the ball quickly. That's something that the 49ers can do. Jimmy Garoppolo can get rid of the ball quickly. Kyle Shanahan can design offense to get rid of the ball quickly. You'd love to have Debo. You can't expect him. I don't expect him at this point. But I don't think, again, you need him in order to run the kind of offense that you can score points on the Bengals with. They do have Trey Hendrickson, John. So, Trey Hendrickson, Trey Lance, Trey Young, Trey Wingo, Trey Turner, Trey Songs, Trey Junkin. Remember Trey Junkin? Bad snap for the Giants, 2002 against the 49ers.
That was the guy's name?
Trey Junkin. Played like 16 years in the league. Poor guy had one bad snap as a sub snapper. Did I say Trey Sermon? I don't know. But Trey Hendrickson's one of the great Treys going right now. I saw a lot of people tweeting. I did a Twitter search. Trey Hendrickson, Rashawn Slater. And there was a lot of, welcome to the NFL, Rashawn Slater. Not a good day at the office, Rashawn Slater. I don't know. I'm no Jeff Schwartz. I watched the end zone copy. I thought Rashawn Slater played pretty well. And guess who the 49ers have at left tackle?
Trent
Williams. So is Trey Hendrickson good? Yes. Is Rashawn Slater good? Yes. And I thought he did a good job. I don't think Trey Hendrickson's going to wreck this game for the 49ers. And so I think they are beat up, yes, but so are the Bengals. And it starts with the Bengals quarterback. At least he's playing. But so are the Bengals.
I'm sold. Mixon missed practice on Wednesday.
Oh.
He's been banged up. I mean, it's just the Niners have to win. I'm going desperation. You would think. I saw Hightower, the special teams coach. All on me. Players, not their fault. All
14,000 words, check. John. Most words ever said in a press conference by him, according to Eric Branch. We're going to ask a lot of questions.
We saw, and I'm not trying to be an asshole to the guy, but holy shit, we know. You don't need to take responsibility.
Well, you got to ask the question. You don't take responsibility. People are like, why didn't you take responsibility? It's just there's nothing you can do but do it. I mean, it's the only thing you can do.
Yeah.
But yeah, they gotta figure that out. I tweeted, put the special in special teams today. People thought it was a Niners reference. That was not a Niners reference. That was a reference to any coach worth their salt, I find, gives a shit about special teams. But that's a separate conversation. Other games we considered here, we settled on the Niners as our lock. We are going to also add a parlay, but we had talked about a few other games. Your first suggestion, it was this game the other day or Ravens plus 2.5 at Cleveland, right?
Yep.
Which is also appetizing. My problem is I don't think the Ravens suck. I don't think the Ravens are good. I went back and watched the Ravens Steelers game Thursday morning as well. I don't Greg Roman. I mean, it's just now they've had a ton of guys hurt. I think they put like their 9th guy on IR this week. Their offense is just quarterback. You're good. Run around and make plays, and he does some crazy shit.
Sammy Watkins made some plays. Number 14, Sammy Watkins. Sammy Watkins on their team. He made plays.
Well, they do. I don't know what it is that they do other than play pickup hoops right now.
Yeah, but they're 8-4, and the Browns are 6-6. Like they're better. They're just
I mean, I don't think they're good though. That's my point. I don't think the Ravens are good. I don't think they're good. They're good. They're not bad, but they're not like really good.
Well, to me, they're the version of the Niners, right? They are. You've watched them. It's like, how are they not 6-6? Kind of crazy that their record's their record. And I think they easily could be like they've had a couple things go well, right? They've pulled a couple games out of their ass. They had a 62-yard field goal walk-off against the Dan Campbell Lions.
True.
So, and they had a crazy comeback against the Chiefs. They've had just crazy wins. They had a crazy overtime win, I think, against was it the Colts or I guess they killed the Chargers, the Ravens did, but they had the Colts overtime game where Wentz was actually really good. That was a Monday Night Football game, remember? So I am just betting on John Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson over Stefanski, who I don't even blame in him, and really just Baker. Like that's where I actually added a team to the parlay that, another game that I kind of look at and I kind of like.
Okay, before you tell me that, because Baker's been, I think, 3 straight weeks under 60% passing. Obviously, he's hurt. The X factor on this game is these two teams played 2 weeks ago. Baltimore won 16-10. And then Cleveland had a bye. So you figure Cleveland prepared for Baltimore, played them, then hit a bye, had the Baltimore tape, and then more Baltimore preparation, then had the week of preparation for Baltimore. So they've been preparing for Baltimore for 3 weeks. Second shot at them now. Now, Utah did it to Oregon twice in 3 weeks. Just they were the better football team. Bottom line, I would even take Stefanski out of it. Baker, say what you want about him, but he's clearly not healthy. And Lamar Jackson, everything I just described, is having, an MVP type season because if you just watch them, all it is let Lamar make plays. Now, he does some wild shit. He threw a pick in the end zone early in the Steeler game on third down in the baby zone. That was an easy. Justin Tucker could have kicked that thing backwards, left-footed, eyes closed. He was so close. And guess what happened? They lost by a point. So those 3 points really mattered to them. And then they had Mark Andrews open in the flat, and Lamar kind of did a little sidearm. He was under pressure, kind of flicked it. Mark Andrews, not Odell Beckham, couldn't get there, and that was that.
It was a tough catch. Would have walked in.
Yeah. So I'm not trying to kill the Ravens here, and especially not Lamar. I think he's carrying them, and the season's deck's been stacked against them since the year started. Really, if they finish where they are right now, like win the North, whatever, extrapolate their record, they're 8-4. It's gonna be a really impressive year because they have nobody healthy.
Guy, their first week of practice after already getting a million injuries, they lost their starting running back and their starting corner to torn ACLs like 3 plays apart in a regular season practice. I don't think we've ever seen in NFL history 2 starting players for an NFL team both tear their ACLs in the same practice. That's insane. That's insane.
It's awful.
And they have just kept chopping wood. I respect the shit out of the brand. Same with the Steelers. Like that was kind of a brand game. Like both of us, we both should suck probably, and we just keep throwing haymakers at each other.
The more we talk about it, the more I like the Ravens against the Browns because they're getting 2 points in this game, John.
Well, yeah, that's why we got to parlay them with the Niners.
Okay, so tell me about your parlay.
So we got the Ravens, we got the Niners.
Yep.
I just think I think there's value with Buffalo. Now, obviously, you go Buffalo, Tampa at Tampa. You'd be like, oh, Tampa, and everyone's going to take Tampa. Buffalo can really throw the ball. Hell, they could throw it in the wind. And Tampa, their DBs are all injured. You cannot run it on them. Luckily, Buffalo can't run it, so you just don't need to run it. Just throw the ball. 3.5 points. Tampa, obviously you got Tom Brady. He tries to win every game, but this isn't like a must win. Buffalo, a little desperate, guy. You talk about a desperation spot. You lose this game, they're 7-5. They'd be in some trouble. Then they have Belichick next week, right? Or I guess in 2 weeks. So it's just the Buffalo's got to win some games. I feel the Buffalo on the desperation rankings, if Tampa's just a neutral, they always, when you have Tom on your team, there's always like a level of desperation just with the way you think and practice. But I think Buffalo, like they're back, like this is it. This is a kitchen sink game for them.
Yeah, John, they would rather be on the road. It's going to be 74 degrees in Tampa.
Where's the game?
Tampa.
Oh, yeah. So they can have a normal game.
Tampa, historically not very good. Tampa owns the Bills. Owns them. Owns them. And my takeaway watching them the other night against watching Buffalo the other night was they're kind of pissing me off with their offense that night. Now, part of it was having $500 on the game, no question, as you've always said. But
see, it's easier to hate coaches and referees a little more when you got some cash on. You're like, what the fuck are you doing, Brian?
I'm not
You're
mad at
bald
Josh
ass.
Allen.
Call a play. Well, I saw you tweet out after the final series, like, why are they taking 20-yard shots every play? You don't need to get first downs on second downs.
So I don't love them at all. I think Tampa.
I don't think you can be an objective talker for a living until you put a little money on a game and sit in that seat because you become a fan of that team immediately, right? Or angered fan.
Absolutely. Alyssa was like, why are you rooting so hard for the Bills? I'm like, you don't understand. I don't want to tell you why. But I don't love Buffalo in this spot. However, you're right, desperate, and they're getting 3 points. So not crazy. I think Tampa's playing good football. Vita Vea, good player. But what was who was the team you added to that parlay? And tell me what.
Football team plus 4.5 at home.
Oh, McCarthy just guaranteed to win. I fucking love it. Okay, so you're thinking $100. What does that pay on a parlay?
12 to 1. $100 plays $1,200.
Yeah, let's do that.
I wasn't going to add football team, and then I just saw it. I'm like, that game's in Washington. Washington's kind of hot right now. I mean, it feels like they've won 4 or 5 straight games. And that game, he just guaranteed a win. What you talk about anti-Belichick? Why would you do that?
He's going to say, "Well, I know what he's going to say. Well, what am I supposed to say? We're going to lose? Doesn't matter. Not the point, Mike.
Not in this spot where Washington. I would get it if Washington was like a. I guess Belichick. Why would you say that if they were a 2-win team? That just gives them easy. You just don't say that.
No,
meathead.
No.
Meathead move.
Now I will say, I think Heineke is overrated, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean Dallas should win the game, but 4.5. When you just talk about value, football teams just tough and feisty.
Hey, it's 12 to 1. There's a reason it's 12 to 1. If it was obvious, it wouldn't be 12 to 1. EKBZ says, "Stop it, Ravens and Niners. Getting too cute is how you lost 3 in a row." No, picking college football is how we lost 3 in a row. It wasn't because we got too cute. Actually, I did get too cute. That's not totally false on USC, but this is different. This is NFL, and this is a parlay. The parlay is separate from the streak.
Yeah. I would feel good about putting 500 on the Niners or the Ravens. Just logically, we're just betting on Lamar or we're betting on the Niners in a desperate spot. Like, that's how we've made our money.
Yeah. Les says, "I don't love this week's bets for the NFL." Yeah, you never love them on Thursday. It's Monday when you go, "Oh, that was so obvious. Of course."
But I think part of his point, this is why we've got away from the NFL. It's become a lot more challenging, I felt, the last 2 or 3 weeks.
I know. You're right.
I don't
back.
really love a lot of the slate either.
We back, John. Here we go, everybody. Join the ride. You don't have to. You can fade us if you want, but just don't forget where we've been.
Yeah, we've seen high highs.
What's on our resume? What's on our resume? And we didn't pack it in. We went Andy Reid, Super Bowl. Actually, I guess Andy didn't do that in the first Super Bowl. I was reading about that. I got to go back and watch the Eagles Donovan McNabb throw up barf Super Bowl, where they were down 2 scores with like 6 minutes left and did not hurry up offense.
Yeah, it was. They took their time.
Time to dip into college basketball. Have you noticed, by the way, in college basketball that Arizona is great again? Arizona has an average margin of victory that has unseen since UCLA's like 1970 baskmark team. They
lost this season?
No, they're undefeated. They are their average margin of victory right now is 32 points per game.
Did they hire Mark Few's right-hand guy? Is he their coach?
Yeah, Tommy Lloyd. They play Illinois coming up, who's not bad, made the tournament last year, obviously. They play somebody else good coming up. UCLA plays Marquette, Shaka Smart, and North Carolina coming up. So big games for both Arizona and UCLA. And then Arizona plays at UCLA December 30th, day before New Year's Eve. It could be a huge basketball game for the West Coast. So just keep an eye out. Basketball, Arizona, UCLA are back, baby.
Well, I was watching Van Pelt do his little Sports Center thing, and he goes like, it was after a college basketball game, whatever Jay Billis was talking, and they're like, "Jay, who do you think the best team in the country is?" And he's like, "I go with Purdue." And obviously, I just noticed Purdue's been ranked really high the last couple weeks.
They have.
See some highlights. They have a guy that looks like Sean Bradley. They have like a 7'4" white guy who's enormous. Have you seen that guy? Like their center? He's huge. They have a center who's like 7'2", and I think he's pretty good. Like they're good. Like it's not fake. Like they're legit. But they have an enormous, skinny white guy center.
No, I've not seen that. I know they're ranked. I think they're a second-ranked team in the nation by some metrics, not necessarily KenPom. Yeah, they're number 2. Purdue has beaten North Carolina and Villanova and Iowa and Florida State. Pretty good.
Yeah, they got dudes.
That's pretty good. So just something to keep an eye on, John. Something to keep an eye on. Okay, Elijah Mitchell for the 49ers in concussion protocol after, I guess, what probably should have been a penalized hit on the fumble, not a fumble. I said on Sunday show I thought it was definitely a fumble. People said, no, his knee was down. What are you talking about? In any event, it wasn't a fumble. But he's not 100% because, well, he plays running back for Kyle Shanahan, John. That's why. That's kind of the nature of playing running back for Kyle Shanahan.
Do you agree that the way Belichick runs his outside runs and the way Kyle runs his outside runs, like maybe Kyle just needs to, I don't know, throw the toss away, but utilize it a little less if he wants to keep people erect? because guys are dropping like flies. I mean, they had to sign a running back this week, not because they have an injury, because every running back on the team is injured. Literally every guy on the team is injured. When you have to sign a running back on Tuesday, it's because Mitchell has a concussion and a knee. Wilson got hurt during the game. Trey Sermon got placed on IR the week before. Mostert's already out for the season. I mean, their injuries at running back. How is Elijah Mitchell going to make it all 4 years of his rookie contract?
Yeah, I don't know. His guys get hurt. It's why I've been terrified of Deebo Samuel becoming a running back. It's why I've thought they need to throw the ball down the field to him. It's a great question. You just have to anticipate multiple running back injuries for Kyle Shanahan. And I think part of it, does he get guys hurt, or does he get guys that run a certain way and thus they get hurt because of how they play?
Well, I think his offense and his coaching style demands them play a certain way. So the type guys he likes are going to run hard downhill in physical spots. And those guys, you run into so many collisions, like you're eventually going to get injured, right? If we just have like a collision where you just run it like a under center run play and you just get tackled at the line of scrimmage, like they're not all equally as violent. I would say any of the Kyle's outside runs are as violent of collisions as you're going to find on a weekly basis in the NFL. Just out in space, going full speed with you get ahead of speed, they get ahead of speed. The collisions that were happening in that Seattle game, I mean, bodies were dropping.
Yeah. I know. But I mean, like the Elijah Mitchell run was an outside toss play. It was just a handoff,
Yeah, that was a freak. He got hit, KO'd, hits the ground, right? I think he was already kind of being tackled when the guy hit him and he dropped the ball.
It was cheap. I thought it was I didn't realize at the time it was kind of cheap, but I do remember thinking, that hits from 1998, I think, but I don't know that it's a specific, to me, it's not a specific play, like a toss play, so much as it is the style that he demands and the type of player that he needs to have a player that runs a certain way. Well, that style is an injury prone style.
One thing that's going to be fascinating over the next 5 years, because it's hard to totally tell, right? No offseason last year, you just play the season. Then this season, there was a little bit of offseason, but then Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers started threatening, so a lot of teams canceled their OTAs, their veteran OTAs, the Niners included. Then most teams didn't play that many starters that often in training camp, and then you get an extra game. Because it does feel like, just looking around the league, guys do drop like flies. Now, that's kind of been a theme, I would say, the last 5-6 years. But there are a lot of injuries right now, just all over the NFL. So it's but the Niners have been injured pre-COVID, after COVID, still now. It's been a pretty consistent theme with them. So it's just something to kind of keep an eye on, just league-wide. But I will not expect next year for the Niners, this is the year they're healthy. Their guys just get injured a lot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. No, I think while it is also a reflection of just what happens around the NFL.
Like Jamal Adams, you see he's out for the year, right? He hurt his shoulder. They put him on injury reserve.
Yeah, I did see that.
So
I was annoyed by that news. I'm not sure why I was annoyed by that news, John. Maybe for them. But no, I mean, it's a consistent theme here. And again, I think it goes back to, we talked about it with Kittle. You go back to last year, the Kittle injury last year was, I don't know, you can't blame that on any one thing other than the throw and the hit. And it's not, when I say the hit, I don't mean that Budda Baker made a dirty hit. I just meant it was the nature of the ball being up over his head, and that was that. The question I would have is, the Deebo play, when he goes down, is that something we can talk about overuse? But you made the point to me when I brought that up after that game, is how many touches does he really have? It's not like he's above and beyond in terms of touches in the NFL, and he does have a history of these sort of soft tissue pulls and that sort of thing. So there's something there. When you zoom out 50,000 feet, when you zoom in on each guy, I don't really know what to make of it. I do think specifically the running backs, though, are just, he has a type, and it's run your face off. And I do think this is going to be, wherever we assign the blame, I think this is going to be part of the future with Kyle Shanahan, is replacing running backs a lot.
Well, remember his dad became, I would say it was a pretty just go-to talking point in like our college days was just, remember he had like that 5-year run where it was just a different guy every year.
Yeah.
Those guys
Gary,
played, something Anderson,
Mike
like,
Anderson.
They just had like 4 straight years with the guys running for 1,400 yards. Is Kyle going to have a guy that runs for 1,400 yards? Like, say one thing for Mike, he just kept the guy playing all season long. Like, that's been a major challenge of Kyle's 3 or 4 years.
I know.
He would die to have just one Mike Anderson. Oh, I just had one guy run for 1,450. Like Elijah Mitchell, who looks like a guy that if he played 17 games, you would be like, Elijah Mitchell, 17-game season is getting you 1,500 yards. If he could just there every game. How could anyone be like, oh, yeah, Elijah Mitchell's going to be able to play 17 games in one season, given how – and I love the way he plays, how hard he runs, how unafraid of contact he is. But god damn, the guy takes some collisions.
What do you do?
Well, you don't. You gotta have more people in the hopper, But they're gonna be in this situation next year, following year, where you just might be late November, December, like you already have a guy injured, then a couple guys get injured in a game, and you have to sign a guy on Tuesday because all of your running backs. Like, I don't think it's gonna happen in other positions. With the Niners, like, this is not a one-off situation, I feel. Because Jeff Wilson was already injured coming into the season. Now you can be like, well, it's a freak deal sitting down. Well, I wonder if it's just the pounding he's taken being a Niner running back last couple years.
It's hard because other running backs get hurt. But I think this is the norm for them.
Yeah.
Here's the crazy part. Like Trey Sermon.
He got hurt playing special teams. But he also got hurt his first career run. He got KO'd against the Eagles. I mean, first career run in the NFL, he got knocked out. And in fairness, that would have knocked out a lot of people. Like, it's not like, he got crushed. Remember that collision?
I do.
That was a toss.
It was a good run.
Well, the whole parted like the Red Sea.
And he hit it hard, unlike
he hit it very hard.
A couple of his other run plays. But, if I told you before the year, coming into the season, now I guess you definitely had reason to be a little skeptical of Mostert coming into the year. But if I told you before the year, you got Mostert, you got Hasty, you got Jeff Wilson, you're going to draft 2 more guys, Elijah Mitchell and Trey Sermon, is that going to get you through the season?
Yeah.
You would have said yes. Especially if I'd said, I'm not going to tell you how good Mitchell and Sermon are, but one of them will be an every down type back. And, the other one will fight to be on the field, but he'll be around. Like, you would have thought at worst he could just be the guy that you need if everybody else gets hurt.
Well, like, for example, he's banged up. We'll see how much he plays. But, like, Joe Mixon. Like, there's a decent amount of teams in the NFL that just have, like, we got Joe Mixon. We got Dalvin Cook. We got Alvin Kamara. In theory, Christian McCaffrey, right? And then the Derrick Henrys. Now, and a lot of these guys I'm listing are on injured reserve. But I don't ever see the Niners get to a spot where it's like, yeah, Joe Mixon's our running back for like 4 straight years. Like,
because
Dalvin Cook's my starting running back for a 3-year stretch. Like, how's that? That's not going to happen.
I mean, the guy's going to have to be.
It would be Elijah Mitchell.
Does it matter that Elijah Mitchell's 5'10", 200?
No, I mean, not all. Kamara's smaller, thinner. Most guys aren't Derrick Henry, right?
Who's also hurt.
Yeah. Freak, foot break. But, I mean, he's
Kamara might be back this week, but he's been in and out. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah, I mean, Kamara's 215 pounds.
Elijah
how
might
much
be
you say,
more
Elijah?
too. Well, I'm on his football reference. He might be more than that.
Might have been what he was at the combine. Yeah, I mean, But okay, so let's say he wears naturally 200. You can get him up to 210. He's never going to be like 240, right? I mean, he's never going to be Mike Tolbert or something. Like, he's just, his size is relatively going to be around what he looks like.
Extra game now, too. A long season.
But I'd say Sermon, you look at him, he's what you want him to look like. And every other carry, he goes down.
Should we be afraid for Trey Lance? I'm not being sarcastic. I mean, he got hurt in his start.
Well, yeah, I mean, the run game is violent. It's just very violent run game. And I think they coach you, go forward. Now, I don't know if you say the same thing to Elijah Mitchell as you would say to Trey Lance. Trey, it's okay to slide. Hell, you could do the Russell. You could do the fake slide where you get hit and they still get penalties.
I would defy anybody. Next time any of you watch the Ravens, just watch Lamar Jackson, which is what you'll be doing anyway, and marvel that he doesn't get hurt because he puts himself as a runner in some pretty compromising positions. Now, he's really wiggly, right?
He's one of the most elusive players in league history.
But he is just, it's constantly a war zone around him. Part of that's his team. As Paul says on the stream, Trey's already been hurt twice. Yeah, I'm concerned. And it makes me wonder if the way that everyone, should Trey Lance, when he becomes the quarterback of the 49ers, run the ball by design with any regularity beyond quarterback sneaks and a couple zone reads? I mean,
I think you would try to model him much more after like Josh Allen's run game. Remember, like quarterback sweeps and some specific stuff and some keepers than you would Lamar Jackson. And let's face it, the game we saw against Arizona was modeled different plays, but like it was more the Lamar Jackson game plan than it was like, Josh, we're going to need you to run 5 or 6 times, but mainly slinging it. Right? They were living and dying kind of with Trey's runs. And Trey would just take off, which I think you would just give him probably at minimum, if he was just your starting quarterback, and let's say he was going to have a game where he had over 30 attempts, he might naturally take off 3 or 4 times, right? Just as a running quarterback, young guy, they just sometimes just say, fucking go, which is fine.
Right. But, I also think, let's go back and look here real quick at Josh Allen's rush attempts by year. 89 as a rookie, 109 second year in 19, 102 in 2020, 75 already. He has run. You know how many touchdowns Josh Allen's run for in 3.5 years?
Well, he's a good red zone. Runner.
28. How many running backs have more touchdowns every year rushing than Josh Allen? He has had 8, then 9, then 8. This year it's down a little on the pace. He has 3 through 12 games. But I would imagine he's got to be, top 15 in rushing touchdowns each of those 3 years, something like that. Now, he's also a little bigger than Trey. Like, I think one thing we've seen with Trey,
he has more rushing touchdowns than Lamar. Lamar has 21 in his career.
Wow. And Lamar's played an extra year, right?
So you said he's averaging about like 105 to 115 range, kind of? Is that Josh Allen attempts?
No, not 115. I mean, 89, 109, 102, 75. So, call it 100. Call it 90,
okay, so
95.
Lamar Jackson's 147, 176, 160, 131 right now. And I guess he missed a game because of COVID, so he'll only play in 16 games. But his numbers aren't crazy, but I guess 76 rushing attempts a lot more than 100. I mean, that extra 70 is a lot more in the open grass. I would say Trey Lance should not be at 150. He should be, but he probably shouldn't be at 100, maybe like 115, 120.
Josh will be at 100 this year based on that pace, right? So he's over 6 yards a carry, 75 attempts through 12 games. So he'll be, to your point, it'll be over his 4-year average will be like 100 basically. I'd say he's bigger. And here's the other thing with Trey. It might take some time. I like him athletically in terms of like what he could be as a runner, but I think you and I would both agree he didn't look totally comfortable kind of knowing how quickly the hits were going to come the times we've seen him run the ball.
Well, wouldn't you say Josh Allen is every bit as elusive of Trey Lance and maybe even a little more?
I'd say he looks to me like a more athletic runner than Trey Lance.
Yeah,
is that fair?
I would consider, the way I would articulate it would be he's a more fluid runner in the open field. Josh Allen is.
Yeah.
Their speed. I don't know what Josh Allen ran, but like the thing with Trey is
Josh is heavier too.
Yeah, Trey Lance is not Lamar Jackson running the ball, right? I mean, in terms of speed, or Kyler, like he doesn't run that fast. He's actually not as fast. He's a good athletic quarterback, but his high end speed is 4.6, which my guess is Josh Allen's probably right around there too. Josh Allen at the combine ran, he's 4.75, but I do think he plays pretty fast in short areas. Josh,
do you have his weight, his combine weight? Because now I've got him listed 6'5",
237 at the combine.
All right. So that's I've got 237 here on Pro Football Reference. Is that just old news?
I think they just carried it over. Josh is big. That's
what
when
he
he
is
was
now.
22 years old.
Because I've got, so now he's listed at, still says 237. I mean,
I bet give or take he's 230 to 240 in that range.
Trey
What do you think,
listed at 224.
So he's just a little bigger. 10 pounds of muscle, and these guys aren't adding fat, right?
Right.
Josh taller.
Okay, so as we talk about it at this moment in time, I would say I don't want 100 rushes for Trey Lance.
For example, his one season where he played a lot, he played 16 games because they played in the playoffs, right? When in FCS you have brackets, so you end up playing 3 or 4 playoff games. He had 170 attempts that year in 16 games. And they ran the ball a lot. Like to me, you're not running the ball that much with him. I think you would try to patent it after Josh Allen, not Lamar Jackson. In college, I think you go more Josh Allen attempt guy in the pros.
100 rushes a year?
You think that's low or high?
It feels kind of high.
Well, he's running.
I know.
Now, some of those,
that's what we're saying
but he gives attempts on Josh Allen when he just scrambles on a pass,
for sure.
right?
Yeah, for sure.
You're gonna be good. So if you play 17 games, to me, at minimum, you get 35 of those off the bat, right? Because you'll have some games where you do 4 of them, some games where you do 1 or 2. I would say 35 to 40 of those type plays, right? 3-4 wide, you look back, you scramble for a first down or 5 yards or whatever. You're going to have a lot of those as a guy that can run 4.6, 5, 4.7.
Yeah.
I bet Dak, runs for a decent amount, and he's much more Dak. I would say is much more of a true pocket passer than either one of those guys for being athletes. We don't even know what Trey will look like. Let's just compare him to Josh. Like Dak Prescott, career high in rushing is probably not that high. Rush attempts, he's way lower.
What are you looking at?
I'm looking at, he's 57 his first couple years, 75, but last year wouldn't count. So he's a 55 to 75 range guy, Dak.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if Dak is 60, then Lance will be over that. He's a better
I think
runner.
Dak's 60, wouldn't you say that probably 75 to 80% of those are pass runs? Like he's dropping back to pass and then he scrambles?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like once you tell me that, I go, maybe Trey's number is going to be higher than I would.
When I watch Josh Allen, they do run and definitely early in his career, quarterback power, where it just snaps to him and he runs left or right.
Yep.
And the Niners are 1,000,000% running that play. Right?
Not a lot of that with Dak.
But would you agree that Niners are going to run that play with Trey?
Yeah, I'm just, in the context of this conversation, I am concerned for Trey Lance's 17-game health if they're going to use him that much. But
part of playing quarterback, and I heard Trent Dilfer say this with Russillo, and he's right. Sometimes we get in this perfect utopia, like it's football. You take hits.
Totally. But again, this is in the context of what we brought up. The Kyle Shanahan's running backs get hurt, all of them. Including Debo when he became a running back.
I don't even think Josh Allen's ever been injured.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it has to happen, but it feels like he's just a healthy guy. Doesn't take huge shots. He does. I feel like he goes out of bounds a lot on his runs because you know what part of it is with him, I think? Again, I'm kind of just dropping in. I haven't done a full film study on
Missed
Josh
some
Allen.
games. I don't know. There's something with his rookie year. He only started 11 games, but sophomore, junior year, he didn't miss a start, and this year hasn't missed a start.
Here's what I'll say about Josh Allen, just having watched him a lot. I think he gets out of bounds a lot because he's fast. I think his runs end out of bounds a lot. Could be wrong about that, but that's the way it feels to me, is that a lot of his runs end with him able to get to the sideline.
Not a lot of, for a guy that I think most people would be like, yeah, Josh Allen's a tough guy. He's not out there proving his toughness on most of the runs.
He puts his shoulder down from time to time, but
no, yeah. I'm piggybacking off what you said. I actually think he plays pretty smart. Like the one run that he had, Hightower got screwed. He's like in the air. Maybe it wasn't Hightower. It was a random guy shoves him because he doesn't
that
know
was
he's out of bounds.
ridiculous.
It was bullshit. But
Now, that's when you tweeted, you hate the refs' bad calls unless it helps you out. I think that's what that was in response to, right?
Yep.
I thought the same thing, yeah.
That was a big 15 yards.
It was huge because he was short of the line to gain. John, before we go any further, let's tell the people about Indeed. Indeed.com/ham. Indeed. When you need to hire, you need Indeed.com/ham.
Yep. Get your quality short list of candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description faster. Only pay for the candidates that meet must-have qualifications, and schedule and complete video interviews in your Indeed dashboard. Indeed makes connecting with hiring people and finding the right talent very easy. That's the key. We're all looking. We got worker shortage. We're all shooting to try to find some help. And right now it's hard. It's hard out there for us in the business community, guy. That's where our friends at Indeed come through to help you out. 4 times more hires than all their job sites combined. How do you beat that? You don't.
No, you don't. Right now, you need help. You're a franchise quarterback. You need an all-pro offensive line. You're building a championship team. You're only as good as your ability to find the right people when you need them. You need a championship hiring partner. That's where Indeed comes in. Pick what skills are important to you from over 135 assessments and get a clear view of your top talent's abilities faster. Indeed delivers 1.5 times more hires than even internal referrals, according to Talent Nest. So go to Indeed.com/ham to claim that $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your post at Indeed.com/ham. Podcast also brought to you by juicy flavors of Liquid IV. LiquidIV.com, promo code HAM. LiquidIV.com, promo code HAM. Get you 25% off anything you order.
Guy, I had the hydration multiplier this morning. It's the first thing I do. Grab a bottle of water, take a swig so you get that little extra, little area. You pour the Liquid IV in there. You put the cap back on. You shake up the liquid multiplier. Then you slam. Then immediately you go, I'm hydrated. You see these people on Instagram doing actual IVs. That's where Liquid IV comes right through. You boom and you go.
Yeah, you boom and you go. They contain 5 essential vitamins, more vitamin C than an orange, as much potassium as a banana, healthier than sugary sports drinks, no artificial flavors or preservatives. That's the way to go. Non-GMO, vegan, and free of gluten, dairy, or soy. So it works for everybody. 1 stick of Liquid IV and 16 ounces of water hydrates faster, more efficiently than water alone. And Liquid IV is on a mission to change the world. They've donated over 11 million servings globally. And they got pina colada and golden cherry right now. So grab your favorite Liquid IV flavors nationwide at Walmart or do it from your butt. Meaning like,
do it from your butt. What were you trying to say there?
You're sitting on the couch. You just get on the phone. You don't have to go to Walmart. You just go to liquidiv.com, use the code HAM.
I thought you meant you pour it down your butt. It's gets in the veins, the bloodstream faster.
I'm not recommending it. They certainly don't recommend that. But no butt. Just butt.
No butt.
Teeth, not one. liquidiv.com. Use the promo code HAM for 25% off. I don't think that one's going to make it to the Liquid IV Hall of Fame. It reminds me of the time I was doing a basketball game, a Nevada basketball game on something called the Wax Sports Network. I've probably told you this story before.
And, Nick Fazekas?
Fazekas, good pull. Tyler Johnson was on the Bulldogs. His shoe came off right in front of me, and he goes to put his shoe back on, and I said, Johnson. I go, Johnson puts his rubber back on, and then I realized what I said, and I was like, his shoe, his foot. That was my recovery. It was.
Why'd you think a rubber was shoe?
Because I just was sitting there. I looked. I saw the rubber sole. I wanted to get creative. I was like, I'll get creative. Bob Costas over here. Johnson puts his rubber back on. Did not make sense.
Yeah, it's pretty good play on words there. It's kind of funny.
Didn't work. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't work. So
you can't hit them all out of the park.
No. Okay. Couple other things for you. Derek Carr trade talks. Are we back to this world again?
I mean, Jerry McDonald, who, is a Raider loyalist, had a tweet. And I do think he was right.
I mean, Raider reporter, a long-time
Raider reporter. Yeah. That over the years, listen, it's not really arguable that Derek's name, right or wrong, has just been out in the ether for like 4 straight years, right? With John, with his status, would they try to replace him? And he has been adamant. I mean, he said it on the record multiple times. He will retire before he plays for another team. And this is not like Andy Dalton or someone. This is a player that if the Raiders just said, if Mark Davis tweeted from the Raiders account, these will be the last 4 games of Derek's career with the Raiders. If we miss the playoffs, we will entertain trade offers at the end of the season. He would be a guy that other teams would 100% trade for. 1,000,000%. They would get a first-round pick from the Saints, probably get one for the Eagles, the football team. Like, he would get a first-round pick, and no one would think it would be that weird. If they blow this thing up, which we know they're going to blow it up. I mean, it's already blown up. If they decide to go in a different direction, because ultimately he has to get paid, right? Are they going to extend him or not? I don't know, man. Like, he's really going to retire if they want to go in a different direction. I know he said that, and I've watched him say that a couple times, and he's like, I don't think he's making that up. I think he believes it when he says that. What happens when Sean Payton gets on the phone with him? You know? When Ron Rivera gets on the phone with him.
Because those are the people that would want him. Like, there's some, right?
Like, bro, I have an 8 or 9 win team right now with no quarterback.
My question is,
hey, Derek, I go to the playoffs a lot.
Would the next Raider coach want to trade Derek Carr for picks to do drafting and delay any evaluation of their work for another 3 years? Because you're not letting these guys do it, right? Mayock, it's whoever comes next would have to want to trade him.
Yeah. You would think they would just want to play, but what if Mark's like, I don't want to give him $140 million?
I mean, we're nearing a decision here, right?
Yeah. That's where I think, like, when you see Jerry tweeting about it, I do think it's kind of bubbling up. Like, his value is his value. Like, he's not signing a $75 million contract like he did last year. I know it was worth $150, but I'm saying the guaranteed money. Remember, it was relatively low. Like, the guaranteed money, that was 4 or 5 years ago. At minimum, what's Derek's true guarantees? 125?
Minimum.
It would be by a country mile the biggest contract the Raiders have ever signed. They're not even close, right? They've had off seasons where they gave out like $50 million in guaranteed money. It's different giving one guy $130 million, right? Immediately, basically.
But
for a position that, like,
but what are they going to sell?
Well, I don't know. I'm not saying they will trade him or anything, but we've seen enough time. Like, he's been there for so long. I don't know. I don't think he's a lock to come back. And I do think he would be, I think he would come out and say, like, I'm not bullshitting, I will retire. I do think there would be guys like Ron Rivera and Sean Payton. I'm just using those two guys as examples because those are the type guys that if they had a phone call with Derek Carr, I do think he would have a serious conversation with guys like that, like lifetime football guys that have pelts on the wall, especially Sean Payton, where it's like, hey, Derek, I'm the offensive coordinator. So it's like, I'm not just the head coach here. I'm the coordinator. Like, I call the plays. Like, it's me and you. Would probably be even different, right, than Ron, right? If Sean Payton got on the phone, it's like, hey, Derek, like, I have a 5-year, $80 million contract myself. I call the plays. Like, the offense is mine. And when you come, it's ours. Call Drew. Ask him how it goes, right? Yeah, I think that would be a tough conversation for Derek. Be like, I'm just retiring, or I can go play for Sean Payton.
Yeah, I think there's some teams. Now, I don't think I know he has said it. I don't think he would retire if it was clear the Raiders were about to trade him. However, there are some teams that are more retirable than others. But I think there's a good number of teams that are. There's the team you just mentioned, right? I think Sean Payton is number 1 on the list. Guys you can't walk away from. He will make you better than you've been before. You'll fall in love with the New Orleans community, the Saints. It'd be wonderful, Derek. Pittsburgh, number 2. Mike Tomlin, another legendary franchise, right? Legendary coach. How do you say no to that?
Who are they going to have to be a quarterback?
Denver? Elway call?
I don't think that Raiders would trade him to Denver. I don't even think that's an option.
Okay. The Giants, retirable. Okay. Yeah. The Bears, depending on who their coach is, but they've got Justin Fields now, who no better time to come back from 3 cracked ribs than at Lambeau Field. So good luck. Detroit, no thanks. Atlanta, I mean, I actually don't think it'd be terrible, but you don't like have to take Arthur Smith's call right now if you're Derek. Carolina, that's a weird situation. Not only on there, who gets fired in week 2 of the bye, John? Joe Brady.
Weird. Yeah.
Minnesota? I would say
this is not going anywhere, though.
Okay. Philly?
I mean, they're right in the wild card mix.
I think you got to take that call, selfishly. Football team? Yeah.
What would the package be? We'll give you Minshew and Jalen and a first. You guys decide?
Yeah, just anybody but.
Do you think the Raiders could trade him to the Steelers? Like if you're Mark Davis, like in the AFC, all of a sudden, what if they're good with him and we could never figure it out?
Well, here's what you can't.
What can they really give us? Like, okay, what are they going to give you, guy? Pick 20?
What you can't have is him retire.
Well, then if he was going to retire, you would just be like, well, just come back, play out your contract, right?
Well, yeah, which is then why wouldn't they prefer that? Cleveland?
I think they would be very interested, yes.
Would he take that call? I think Stefanski's a good coach. I think they have the potential there.
It's just the brand. Like, does he want to go
very
back to
weird
the Browns?
No.
No, I think Browns would be like, well, we've made the playoffs as many times as you in the last 2 decades.
Miami?
Tua's having a good little run here.
The Jags, no. I'm sorry, not the Jags. The Texans, no. The Jets, whatever. They're not calling at this point. And the Giants, that doesn't do anything for you. Tennessee, is that an upgrade for Tennessee?
I think they'd sniff around.
And I think you'd take that call.
I think this. They've hired whoever to run the organization. And a week or 2 in, everything is on the table for the Raiders. They will entertain trading Derek Carr. I think the amount of teams that you just listed, they're getting calls from 15 NFL teams. His market would be robust. Honestly, you might get more than a first-round pick. Couldn't you see, I give you a 1 this year and a 3rd next year or something?
I think it depends too, right? Like if
he does have to be extended, so it's not like he's Stafford where he's under contract for multiple years.
I think you get more than a 1 and a 3 for Derek Carr.
We'll have to see how the season ends.
I think you might get 2 1s.
Kind of struggling.
Yeah.
He had a moment where he's checking the ball down with the big spot last week.
There will be good quarterbacks coming into the NFL at some point.
He's on his third. He's a little older. I would agree if he was like 25 or 26, there was more hope. He is kind of what he is a little bit.
I know, but you trade like a good second for a backup quarterback. Not a backup quarterback.
You trade him for like Jimmy.
Let me rephrase.
I think a 1's a lot.
I think you get more than just 1 for Derek Carr. I mean, he's a starting NFL. He's a top half starting NFL quarterback.
Well, the Washington football team gave 2 2s for Alex. Or no, excuse me. The Chiefs gave 2 2s for Alex. And then I think when they traded him to Washington, they gave a 2. And Alex, when the Washington football team got him, he was pretty good. He was every bit as good as Derek. Things were a little different, I would say, with quarterback-wise.
I think Derek's better.
Than Alex Smith?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that he's still going to have a ways to go to put his that career together, but I think, yes. I think if you're Sean Payton, you'd rather have Derek Carr right now than prime Alex Smith.
So you're saying if Andy Reid would have had Derek Carr instead of Alex Smith for that 4 out of 5 years in Kansas City before Mahomes, or maybe it was 3 out of 4 years, whatever, he would have made the playoffs all those years with Derek as well?
I'm saying if he would have had I'm saying if he would have had Alex Smith, he would have traded Derek Carr away. If he would have had Derek, he would have traded him away for more than he got for Alex. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But my point is, if he would have had Derek all those years in Kansas City when they were good, right?
Yeah.
But Alex good, right? They were winning 11 games and couldn't win a playoff game. Are they doing the same with Derek?
I don't know. I think he might have more turnovers, but I'm just saying I think he would then look like a better quarterback than Alex looked after. I think he'd have more value as a player in a trade. I think Alex Smith does not win you as many games for Sean Payton as Derek Carr might. And I just think the potential ceiling is higher. I think that's probably what it comes down to.
Well, what I'd be interested as is, and Coach Reed loves Alex, but I know he liked Derek. If you were in the same position, Andy, in 2014, and you needed a quarterback, would you rather have that version of Alex you were getting from the Niners or this version of Derek? Kind of similar ages. Maybe Alex was like a year older, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer would be. You would assume Derek, but like I've seen Alex in a playoff game, multiple, and he's
yeah.
the one game he couldn't throw a first down.
It's just about ceiling. Like I think Derek's ceiling would be viewed as higher.
But this is, I think, where the pushback would be from older people in just sports. You're using the word ceiling with a 30-year-old guy. We're kind of learning it with Matt Stafford at 32, 33.
Yeah, I'm not talking about.
Sometimes we overhype that.
Well, what I mean is not what he could be in 2 years. I just mean the things you can do with him in a given game based on his physical arm.
Like the first 3 or 4 games of this season, right? I mean, he showed it when his team was healthy.
Now, we like G on the stream said Derek's been there 8 years and hasn't sniffed the playoffs. There's different levels of having to carry a team, and there's a difference between having to carry a team and having to help carry an offense. And I think Derek could do more in terms of carrying an offense with, say, Sean Payton than Alex.
Yeah, and if I was Derek's agent and I didn't have to worry.
I mean,
about
Alex
Mark
had a
Davis
season where he didn't throw a touchdown pass to a receiver
in Kansas City.
In Kansas City, yeah.
If I was defending Derek from the guy that said he hasn't sniffed the playoffs, I'd be like, well, yeah, he plays for the fucking Raiders.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You go there. It's a joke franchise.
Like Peyton Manning can carry a franchise, okay? Most guys can't carry a franchise. This guy should be able to carry an offense. But
and listen, I don't hold
help.
them responsible for all these things, but like you had to fire your coach 5 weeks in. You lost your star receiver who's going to go to jail for 20 years. And you had to cut a first rounder for showing guns. Like, that's the Raiders. Again, like, that's not Derek's fault or even Mayock's. Like, it's some of this stuff's out of your control, but that's the Raiders, right? Yeah. Like, I'd say those 3 incidents kind of define the franchise.
DM says, pretty sure the QB was the second most passing yards in the league is worth 2 firsts.
I would say passing yards are pretty overrated stat.
While I agree they're overrated, I think Derek's worth. I'm not positive it's 2 1s, but to me it's closer to 2 1s than it is a 1 and a 3, maybe a 1 and a 2.
I think giving up 2 1s for Derek would be pretty bold.
It would be, but like I said, as one NBA scout said to me yesterday when I said, "What's going on in college basketball right now?" He's like, "I'll tell you what's going on. 18 years ago, the wrong moms and the wrong dads got together," and I think that's kind of how great of a line is that?
Well, he's like saying it's a bad year for the draft.
Yeah, he was just talking about college basketball in general. I'm like, where's all the good teams? He's like, I'll tell you. And then he said that. So I think that might apply to college quarter to, like you could make that line. You could say that right now if you're looking at the crop of NFL bound quarterbacks.
Well, did they get 2 1s for Stafford because he was worth 2 1s or because so many other teams were interested, or a combination of both?
A combination of both. And I do think, you make an interesting point. Like just talking about the player in a bubble, there is another conversation, which is what is the market?
Yeah.
Right.
But I would say this, the market, if they were both in the same market, like if there were just 2 homes that are for sale, Matt Stafford's home would have been valued more than Derek Carr's home. Right?
Yeah.
He's valued more. But like you just listed, there might actually be more teams who would theoretically be pretty aggressive to get Derek. So that just naturally drives up the price, right? You've tried to buy homes. I mean, fuck, when the line's out the door, you got to offer more money.
Well, if you're the Panthers, let's say, would you rather trade a 4th-round pick for a quarterback you don't think is your future, or just 2 1s for a guy that has a shot? At that position, I'd always rather overpay for the potential that I'm getting something good than band-aiding
try to
it
do
with
the
3rd-round picks. Yeah,
they did a second. I would say a second's not nothing, but it's
that's
definitely a discounted value over the Stafford thing.
Yeah. Did you want to hit something else here? And we got a mailbag that we'll have in on the next pod. I guess Tiger came back. I mentioned that already, or he's going to be back at the PNC Championship. Yeah. Used to be the father-son challenge, and then they realized girls played golf too. The number 1 player in the world, Nelly Korda, her dad is playing with her.
That's good.
The defending champs, Justin and Mike Thomas, will be there.
Do you have the list of the people in are the dailies there?
I don't have the list, but what was his kid's name?
I don't know, but he's on the University of Arkansas's golf team, so I don't know. I don't know if they would have an event this weekend. I looked actually like a couple months ago if he was playing. Now the golf season is technically in the spring, but they do events in the fall. I don't think he was. Now I would imagine Arkansas's golf team is
I got the
probably
list now.
decent.
Let's see.
Are the dailies there?
John and do you remember his kid's name?
John Jr.
Little John Daly.
Little John, who's big. I mean,
who's big.
This guy's a legit. I mean, this guy plays in the SEC. Like he is going to be. I would say at minimum he'll be on the Korn Ferry Tour. Like they should win it.
We've got Patrick. We've got Patty and Patty Harrington are playing.
That's pretty good. Okay.
He should have named it. He should have had a daughter and named her Patty with 2 T's.
Are the Normans playing?
Let's see. We got the O'Maras, we got the Players, we got the Duvals, we got the Furocks, we got the Kuchers, we got the Sings, we got the Trevinos, we got the Thomases, we got Tiger and Charlie Woods, we got Bubba Watson and Wayne Ball.
Yeah,
father-in-law.
I guess
father-in-law.
His son's not old enough to play yet.
We got the Sinks, we got Nelly Corda, we got the Stensons, we got the Watsons, we got the Faldos, we got the Beams.
Watson's kid might be 50 because he's like 75.
72.
Sink's kid is his caddy, who's a good player, I think.
And he's young, right? He's like I
think he's like 23. Yeah, he's young.
That looks like the group.
That's pretty solid. I mean, Tiger and Charlie probably are not going to win. My money would be, I might have to look on my bookie, maybe put a little cash on the dailies. Do I trust the dad? I actually trust the son. Remember last year, some highlights of little John Daly bombing like 400-yard drives. Like he hits it far.
Yeah, looking like his father's son.
I feel like the two people that are going to go viral this weekend, well, Tiger will just because of the comeback, but it's Charlie's the star to me of the event. I do think anytime you get little John Daly,
the star.
If you had to rank the star, would you say Charlie's the number one star in this event? Guy, they were talking about him going to the PGA Tour last year. He's like 10 years old.
Bigger than Tiger?
I felt like
Tiger hasn't been seen in public in a year.
I mean, Tiger was giving a lot of interviews last week. Except about they got asked in the, they're like, Tiger, do you want to expand on what happened coming down the hill? He's like, it was on the police report. On the police report. Next question. It's like, Tiger, you didn't touch the brakes.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know.
I think Charlie and little John Daly are the stars.
They should play in a money game together for like
they should pair those two together.
Lunch money. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Tiger wants little Charlie to play with little John, you know? Just like play somebody bigger than him, older than him, better than him.
Charlie's going to have a lot of pressure on him.
So,
like, that's the great part about being little John Daly. Like, part of being like little Charlie, it's like being little Michael Jordan. Like, it's hard. Being John Daly's son, it's like, wow, this guy's really impressive. Yeah. How'd this guy end up so normal, right?
Yeah, he was in bed by 2 a.m. Wow.
Well, it's like John Daly, if he's just a solid member of society, he's already an improvement. Then, obviously, to live up to the golf's going to be hard, but just being a nice kid, like if everyone at Arkansas is like, God, John
doesn't
Daly
even
Jr.
smoke on the course.
Great kid. You know,
doesn't even have a pack of cigarettes in his pocket.
No.
That's coming up on the 18th, a week from Saturday. Daniel says on the stream, all the car talk is of interest from a value point, but not a point of reality. He's not going anywhere. I'd be surprised.
I just think you can only lose so much. Now, it's going to be hard to find a quarterback better than him, but anytime you just don't win all the time, eventually you get to a point like, what are we doing? Now, is Matt Stafford on the Lions? If he doesn't go to, I almost said Martha Ford, because it wasn't part of the story. Like right when the season ended, he went to the owner and said, I want to go to a new spot. So when they were interviewing coaches, they kind of let him know, like part of the deal, Matt Stafford might want to go and we're going to give that to him. Like if Matt Stafford had been like, I want to stay in the Lions, is Matt Stafford on the Lions right now with Dan Campbell?
I mean, they did get pick. It's part of rebuilding, right? Is like getting picks for him. So I would say trading him made sense, even if it's not what he wanted.
But I think the argument on why Derek's going to be on the team is like, who else is going to be their quarterback? Right? Like, would they do something where it's like, okay, I traded the Eagles, I get Jalen Hurts, You give me a 1 and a 2, and all of a sudden I get Jalen Hurts. I get the 10th pick. I get another second-round pick. I get to kind of rebuild my team.
I will say the difference. I know, we bag on the Raiders for not making the playoffs. They are in a wild year, 6-6. Like they have Waller and Carr and Jacobs and Theory Edwards. They got Colton Miller. They got Max Crosby. Like Abrams playing, but like I'm just saying, it's different to me. You hire a new coach. You got a new stadium. You need to fill it. Like you could justify, hey, let's just go to the playoffs, guys. We got an extra playoff spot now. Let's just try to go to the playoffs. Where the Lions were not in that spot.
So is Derek just going to play in the last year of his contract, which is kind of unheard of for
no? I think they got to extend them.
But then, like we said, there's a kind of a minimum rate.
I know
the rate's the rate.
Well, if you can't extend a guy that you want to, if you can't extend it's one thing if you can't extend, your 7th best player. If you can't extend your quarterback, why am I buying tickets? They got to be able to extend their quarterback.
Could you do this if you were Derek? Give me a 5-year, $125 million contract. I make $25 a year, but I fully guarantee it all. And then I also get a no trade clause because I'd be immediately one of the most tradable players in the league, right?
Yeah.
Would you do something like that if you're the Raiders?
Well, I mean, if you're Derek,
or would you not do that if you're Derek? Like, why would I sign this deal?
Well, if you're Derek, you would do it because you have said if you really mean you don't ever want to play for another team, that's why you would do it.
So you're still getting the guaranteed money. You would just you're lower per year. You're kind of giving them a favor to like build a sweet team.
But you're still making a ton of money. I mean, look, Brady. Say what you want about.
That's what Brady makes right now. 25.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Over the years, maybe he got compensated other ways by the Kraft family, but he did make a lot of money. He did win a lot of football games, in part because he didn't make as much money as he could have.
What would the reaction be if it's like announced Derek signed a 5-year, $125 total, fully guaranteed? People are like, God, he just cut them a deal, or would that be because his average per year would be dramatically lower than a lot of the guys?
I think people would react like he cut them a deal, but also like he put his money where his mouth is. I don't want to play anywhere else. Let's go build a winner.
Yeah,
and I don't think people would. I don't think he'd get talked about like some sort of like he got tricked. I mean, he's uber wealthy, and I think he said this is where I want to be.
Now, because the only pushback is like, well, he still gets a lot of guaranteed money, but the reality is with quarterbacks, we've talked forever. Like whatever Derek's contract was last time, the total, he received the total.
He gets it.
It wasn't like, he cut him a deal, $70 million. Well, he played the whole thing out. So he literally got every penny of the whole thing.
Right.
They're really the only position that ever gets their third contract.
Running backs.
Time to extend them again. No.
Yeah, running backs, it's all fake. Quarterbacks, it's real.
It's real.
All right. On that note, have a great weekend, everybody. Check out the mailbag coming up. Oh, nokidhungry.org/ham. Nokidhungry.org/ham. We've donated from this show $10,000. Tito's donated $5,000. Puesto donated $2,000. We are up around, I think, $18,000 now. I think it was 18,400 was last check. Does that sound right? So we got a ways to go. We need your help. We appreciate any bit you can give. It's a fantastic charity. They help families in need find food for their kids. They help communities and schools create good programs to feed kids who need food. I mean, a basic need for children. So please, 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 whatever you can give, it's in the description of the podcast, of the YouTube. We appreciate you helping us help out No Kid Hungry through this fundraising campaign.
Yeah. Help us help with you.
Get in the mailbag. Go to iTunes. Leave us a 5-star review. Questions. Favorite bar. Mailbag it up. And shave it or save it. We need your submissions. If we're going to do shave it or save it, we got to get pictures from people struggling to make a decision, John.
Get on it, people.
All right, buddy. Thanks for hanging.
Peace.